Hey everybody, I'm Sage Valentine and welcome to my channel of the same name. Right now I'm going to review for you guys Fox's The Following, Season 3, Episode 9, entitled Kill the Messenger. Alrighty people, so what did I think about this episode? It was great, and if you stop watching The Following, it's time for you to start rewatching it. Get on into it because it's getting very, very good. Now, as far as this episode goes, we learn that Gwen is now pregnant, and she was crying her eyes out about it, and I'm wondering why. Does she not want a baby with Ryan Hardy? Does she want to end the relationship? Or is this baby messing up whatever mission she's on? See, I'm still thinking that this woman is suspect, and I will always believe that. Now, we have that laptop that Tom has been hoarding and watching Max with. It comes out in a big way this episode because what happens is that Agent Sloan, who I still believe is suspect, I'm always going to believe this woman is suspect, she goes to Mike and says that she found some type of like IP address and some type of like data usage at Mark Gray's little, I guess you could call it brownstone, which means Mark must have had some type of computer, and Mike is just like, well, they didn't log that into evidence. So as the episode goes on, all of a sudden it comes out that there is a computer because Max finds out that there was a receipt for said computer, and Tom overhears this, runs to the locker room and destroys the computer as they are trying to track it because it's in the building and they believe that there's a mole in the building. But if Tom thinks that this is over, it is not over, obviously, because now Mark and Daisy are hot on his trail. Even though they don't know that it's him, eventually they're going to find out because they're on a mission to get Mike Weston. Then we have Theo, who breaks into Juliana Barnes's office. In case you don't remember that name, that's Dr. Strauss's dearly departed lawyer who died at the hand of Mark holding an iron. So he tears up her office late at night and finds this ledger, ends up killing the security guard just so that he can escape. He gets to this apartment where apparently he has another persona. It's this gorgeous apartment in Hoboken. A housekeeper who says someone named Penny left and she's not sure where Penny went. Whoever Penny is that a wife? Is that a daughter? God knows who Penny is. So Theo manages to mess up Ryan Hardy's life by doing the following. He causes him to get into an accident, has his car reported stolen, has Gwen under probation at the hospital, and has a fraud alert sent to Ryan Hardy's phone about his credit card with some type of fraudulent purchase or something like that. So Theo's trying to decrypt these numbers that he found in this ledger because this ledger is full of numbers for other killers that Strauss has taken under his wing in the past. And Theo's having a problem trying to figure out how to decode this thing, so he pulls up this idea of someone named Gary Benson. He meets up with Gary Benson, who seems like this guy with a chip on his shoulder. We learn that Gary was in the Army. He wanted to be an Army Ranger, and somebody named Robert Tubbs basically didn't let that happen, on top of the fact that he also had anger issues and failed his psych evaluation. So Theo convinces Gary over drinks to go over to Robert's house and basically beat him up, and then Theo all of a sudden shoots the guy in the head. Gary's just like, oh my god, what did you do? And Theo just looks at him and he's just like, well, he had to die so you could be reborn, and telling him all this garbage, and Gary believes it. Now, him and Theo were wearing like these masks on their face, and stupid Gary left his mask in the house, and then he sees this burner phone that Theo has, and he calls up this woman, Linda, who's his ex-wife. What he doesn't know is that the FBI was trailing or tracing this phone. So when this phone call was made, they put two and two together. They figured out that Linda Benson is married to this guy, Gary Benson, who used Theo's phone, and he is a corrections officer at Joe Carroll's prison. So while this is happening, Joe Carroll sends a message to Ryan Hardy because he remembers that he knows Theo, because Theo came to one of his lectures, but he didn't know him by name because Theo was not sticking around long enough to get to know anybody or divulge any information. It's like he just popped up in that classroom and then just disappeared. So we get back to Theo. Theo basically has this dude, Gary, go into the prison and act like he was switched from the one wing to another one. And then he has his camera and he has this thing in Gary's ear, and he's basically telling Gary everything to say to talk to Joe, and Joe just seemed a little bit, you know, like, I'll just humor this guy. And then Theo asks for Joe's help to decrypt or figure out how to contact all these different names that are under these different numbers, and Joe's really not trying to help unless he can get some information about Ryan's girlfriend, Gwen, and Theo gives him a little bit of information. And then he also offers to, you know, either kill or torture Ryan Hardy, of which pisses off Joe Carroll because Joe Carroll's just like, that's mine. And he's like, you know what? I have another card to play. You hear these sirens? Or not even the sirens, like these loud, like, I guess you could call it a siren. When I guess the FBI is in the prison and they're rushing with all these people to come and get this guy, Gary. Meanwhile, Joe Carroll says, ooh, they're about to get you, grabs this dude's throat, breaks his neck, kills Gary, takes his sunglasses, and hides them. Alrighty, so basically Theo at this point, out of options. God knows what he's going to do in the next episode. So Ryan Hardy talks to Joe Carroll, and they're, you know, chatting a little bit. And to make a long story short, Joe Carroll seems like he's kind of lonely, and all he wants to do is just talk to Ryan, and Ryan's just like, I just want to be done with this, whatever. And then Joe mentions Gwen, and that's all she wrote, because all of a sudden Ryan just jumps on him, and those two, like, guards have to pull him off of Joe. And then Ryan says, I'll be so glad when you're dead. You're like a cancer, and I can't wait to be done with you. And then he ends up going home, Ryan Hardy, to his apartment, and he gets that alcohol that Gwen had in the house. This is why I said that it was a bad idea she brought alcohol. He pours himself a drink. He's about to drink it. He hears a noise, and then all of a sudden, he drops the glass and runs to the bathroom. It's Gwen. She's inside. He's apologizing to her for everything that happened. Meanwhile, she's inside crying because she has a pregnancy test, and it's positive. So I guess this baby is Ryan Hardy's. And she probably either wants to get away from him, break up with him, or this was not part of the plan. Whatever plan of whomever she is linked to that has her there with Ryan. Yes, I do still think that she is suspect. And that's basically how the episode ends. And yes, I enjoyed when Mark broke that glass. I enjoyed it so much because Sam Underwood is such a great actor, and it was just hilarious, that whole scene. And that dream in the beginning, I thought it was either Theo or Mark coming into that apartment during Ryan Hardy's little dream. But when it turned out to be Joe, I was like, okay, now Joe has truly taken up residency in Ryan Hardy's brain. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this review. Don't forget to rate this video, hit that subscribe button, leave your comments about this season, and check me out on Twitter and Google+. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. Bye, guys. Bye.